Alright, I haven't posted to my channel very much at all, specifically because I kind of got more into the real thing. I thought I would like show my own S13 and everything that's been done to it. It's a pretty standard, I guess, my hand hot boy spec car at this point. I mean, that's kind of like the whole point I want to go through, because that's like, if you wanted to drive aggressive, you copy the exact aggressive setup you see a lot. So kind of going over the exterior, it's obviously a coupe, a 1 Via. This is all legit Origin Aero. Well, maybe those, I don't know for sure, but I found those used on Marketplace. Let's see. It's a streamline kit, which isn't very common with a lot of people. A lot of people go straight for like driftline or something like that. This also has the Type 3 over fenders. I hope they're Type 3, not Type 2. Pretty sure Type 3. They're the 55 mils. I kind of went after Karoy's, I think that's how I pronounce the name, when I saw his blue 1 Via has a 1JC swap, but I think he has I think it is the Type 2 and like the 30 mil front. The Type 2 is like the one that's a little more boxy, like it has like a kind of like a ledge, and then the Type 2 is kind of more of like just a pumped guard. I thought I'd do something a little bit different and kind of mix kind of both the same styles of like a lot of people running these Type 3s and then an older style kit. This kit was cut into sections from off of Project Imports Toshi. If I can get this on camera, I don't know if you can kind of see the line right there. That's basically, it was cut here, cut here. The front fender is the only thing that weren't cut. The side skirts have a cut. Actually, you can barely even see that line in this light. It depends on the light if you can really see it. Overs are cut. This one's probably maybe no. The line is supposed to be like, I can see it with my eyes, but maybe the camera's not picking it up. Yeah, honestly, getting the kit cut, fiberglass is good. Fiberglass is gonna be a shit ton of work. It's not the most fun thing in the world, but I think, I mean, now with tariffs, it's probably not as equal pricing, but I think the kit itself, before tariffs, converted to USD with the yen down, I think it was like technically $650 for the front bumper, side skirts, and rear bumper. And then cut in half, shipping wise, was like another like $300. So like $900 for that. And then the fenders themselves, I think, was like, with shipping, ended up also being like $900. I mean, if you compare that to ordering like Modelo Drive or some shit like that, I think, well, I don't know about it anymore, but it technically was cheaper to buy legit Origin, with the caveat that you got to get it cut in half. I mean, I found that just like getting the kit cut in half anyways didn't really matter, because then you can kind of put the two halves on the car, and you can kind of, I used like blue masking tape, and then you just use hot glue and like a tongue depressor, like some wood, and you use that to kind of like stitch together, and then you take it off and then fiberglass the back. It honestly wasn't really that hard, because then you also gotta, I don't know, maybe this line's more apparent. No, in this light, nope, you can't even see that. But then what you got to do is kind of like bevel out where the seam is, and then make sure you do all the body work to fill it correctly, because otherwise it will be more obvious where that cut line is. But I think like a good example, I mean, you're not gonna be able to see it, it was actually like the bumper was like cut right here, and to get it to like square up the body nicely, I think the gap was like 1 inch. So it's like, if it wasn't even cut, like it would have been a nightmare to get it to fit correctly. So I don't know, at this point, if you buy a fiberglass kit, you're signing yourself up for it. So just kind of the name of the game. I got 57 DRs all around. that's from me taking out Dalton's fake 57DR. This one did a little bit better. Stagger setup. These are 17 by 9 plus 12, 50 mil spacer. That's 18 by 9.5, but they're plus 38 because I ran them on my stock body. So I had to run plus 38 to get a 265 on the back. Another thing about fiberglass fenders is this, for some reason, this side, I mean, I did a ton of body work, but if you imagine this line, it was like warped out, like pretty bad. So technically left and right sides, they're not equal. I think this side has a 25 mil spacer and the other side has a 38. And that's just, again, it's fiberglass, and especially with Origin, for some reason, this side of the car, it's like their whole molds are like shifted down. So like here, like this was maybe like this. I had to like completely fill this in as much as I can with actual fiberglass and the rest with Bondo glass because I wanted it to be relatively strong. And it's apparent with this body line, or it starts to like, I had to like trim this in a weird way because it starts to like swoop down, and like this line kind of matches here, this body line. And if you go across, like all of a sudden this one goes like, I mean, it'd be more apparent, but it like goes up higher for some reason. And you can kind of see where this body line is here that match the bumper is not actually matching with the bumper. Again, it's cheap fiberglass. Like I think that like people expect, like, I mean, I understand why people buy fake Origin here because it's cheap, and I understand why people buy it in Japan because it's cheap as fuck. So never, like, you see those prices on like Faction or something like that, that's insane. Just order through like Toshi or something. I don't know how, I mean, you gotta consider tariffs now, so that kind of sucks, but it is way cheaper than you think. These, again, I found a marketplace. I was told they're Origin, don't know. And then I did just an ABS piece of plastic cut, mounted on the side skirt, give it a little more. These mirrors are actually off eBay. They're the M3 style. Honestly, I think they're like $60 or something like that. I think they look just as good as getting yours, to be honest. Obviously, they're plastic, but I don't even have this. I think this is a little bit tacky. You just don't run it. You don't turn it on. But I think they're like, I feel like they're better quality than GK Tech, to be honest. But they could be made in the same factory because that's how it is. Interior wise, it's complete interior as a drift car should be. This makes it extremely nice. Made my own fire extinguisher bracket. The dash was in better shape, and then it started cracking, and then I was just just added the carpet because it looks fairly clean that way. Maybe I'll do an overlay once I get bored of this, but yeah, I got this completely mint Zeeg 2, like borderline brand new for a really good deal. The Zeeg 2 is pretty much my favorite seat. Here, let me go around to the other side. I think it's the favorite seat that I've ever sat in. I technically have two. I have one on my Sim, but that one needs to be reupholstered. Got an RD Classic 340 mil garage moon power. I'm blanking out the mats. Other than that, it's still, well, it's a Z32 handbrake style, so no reason to have a hydro. This works pretty good. It also, I should go to the other side. It technically also has a full sound system. Well, full in the sense that I have upgraded door speakers, but then under my seat, there we go, under my seat I got a 400 watt amp. It's pretty nice. I think I spent like $500 total, or maybe 600, because I have JBL speakers. And if I can open up trunk, this is not technically ideal for drifting. But then I have 12-inch sub. I honestly had an issue where this thing would just fling around and it like broke the wood platform here. And then I eventually got that solid, but then it would like slide the carpet around, and then I just honestly self-tapered into the wood. And there's a couple little, spots there you can mount it. And then it's just, I think I have double-sided tape at this point. I had like carpet tape, but it just wasn't doing enough. I kind of thought about making it like some sort of mount, but I mean, if you can make it look like nothing's going on in here, then I think that looks a lot better. That's my keys. I forgot to mention, I also have this APR Performance. It's the GTC 200 generic wing. I kind of wanted to obviously do the classic Origin route, or technically you can buy the Energy one. It's borderline the same, maybe even better quality than the Origin one, because the NRG GT wing, or if you buy it directly from China, the stands are actually metal. Origin are actually fiberglass. So it's like you just tap something or something lightly hits the wing, it's gonna snap, which is cool. But yeah, this is a little less aggressive. I wanted to do something that was kind of like lower mount, comparing to like an Origin wing. It's not as wide. Obviously, some people might hate it. I feel like it's just like, I feel like it's just right. Whereas like this kit's kind of like a mixture between like not all the way like crazy street or crazy drift car, but it's also kind of like still kind of streetish a little bit. As I say that, it looks like a complete drift car. But yeah, let's now look at the engine bay. Okay, this is where the magic happens. This is a standard unopened blacktop SR. The history on it is honestly not that great. I've heard things. The person that originally imported this engine back in the early 2000s did not care. Would rev it to almost 9,000 allegedly. Thought it was funny. As far as I know, it's like, as far as everything I've looked at, it doesn't have anything, like the thing has been untouched, unopened, and it's been beat on for probably 15 years at this point. And it's got perfect compression. No issues. Keeps nice and cool. I hope it just stays that way. But yeah, right now I like this. I kind of like bullshit polished, because I was going to paint it, and I was like, I'll just try just polishing it. I probably will eventually like paint it, like kind of do like the die grinder thing and do something cool there. It's got 740cc 5.0 injectors. Got the just recently upgraded to a Synco manifold, and it has a turbo that I was technically sponsored by, which is MMP. They kind of cut me a pretty good deal on this turbo. I don't know if it's technically kind of saving my SR in some ways, because it's much larger than like a T28, like wheel wise. It's got a 0.86 AR rear housing, which is pretty big for an SR. So it's like, I kind of really don't get into its efficiency range until it's like 14 PSI, and it's like not hitting that until like 4,200 RPM. So it is pretty lazy, but once it gets going, it cooks. It definitely cooks. That's something I might change to like maybe a 2867. That's just kind of a more well-rounded turbo for a basic SR. I also have the PBM high mount intercooler. I didn't go crazy. Technically, it should like sit a little further back. I think you just had to cut out more the quarter sport. I was kind of like a little bit against that, so I did like the bare minimum. I do kind of wish I went all the way through it because it's kind of annoying to take it all apart. Like getting these clamps down and the couplers. Okay, before getting interrupted by running out of storage on my phone, yes, I kind of wish this intercooler was a little bit further back. It'd make it much easier to service. Also, because of that, you have to see if you can see it. You have to run these fixed headlight brackets or get the relocation kit from English Tune. That shit's a nightmare. That shit sucks. That makes me want to go do fixed headlights. That sucks about doing this. Not gonna lie. It's like I had to like completely modify. Actually, I created a little point where I can actually take the arm and bolt it back further just to have the headlights closed. And it's like, oh, you're out and about and it's getting dark. Oh, let me just pop up my headlights real quick, and you have to go down in here and unbolt it, lift it up, bolt it, and it's on both sides. That shit sucks. So yeah, that's kind of what you got to pay for doing that shit. Or you just leave your headlights up the whole time, but I don't want to do that. Also, this is Link ECU. Got IAT, fuel pressure, fairly basic. Had it tuned by Brian Harstock. It's mint, 0 issues. Yeah, just don't run Power FC. That's what I had before. It was like I was really just uncertain about the timing on that. It seemed like it was just doing whatever the hell it wanted. Kind of sketchy. Just go to Link. There's no point in that shit anymore. All right, moving on to suspension. I have Stance XR1s. They're just the standard ones. I did upgrade to 9K, 5K Swift springs. A big thing you can do with these coilovers is you slot the top hole and you weld in a washer. And then you set your coilover right into the center. What that essentially does is you get all your camber out of the knuckle and not the top at, which changes your KPI angle, which in a sense then gives you better or more scrub, even with a 50 mil spacer. Obviously, that just helps the car just kind of flick nice. God, I can't even talk. It makes it like flick nicer, basically. But yeah, I got these Voodoo 13 tension rod arms. Way over engineered. You do not need these. These things are. I'll just go GK Tech. I had GK Tech LCAs and I like trim it down, and there's been so many times I just like hate these things. So yeah, just go like GK Tech. They got the nice shit for that. Stock sway bar. That's important. At least with B Knuckle V1. This is also S13 LCA. And I probably have to turn it on the other side, but I have the larger. Oh wow, that boot looks crazy. I'm not gonna be able to see it. I have the larger rack spacers. That's pretty necessary. And then you do a, I think in Japan they do like 5 mil plate, but you know, we're American, so that's a 1/8 plate, I believe. You just weld into the LCA for the outer to hit it. I feel like though, maybe because I have also the GK Tech solid rack bushings, which technically move the rack forward a little bit. Maybe those are necessary, but maybe not. I feel like this is the kind of the standard way to have this plate welded in here for the bump stop. Or the lock stop. You kind of really like you'd be like fighting for more angle realistically if you wanted more than that. Like this already with the setup, like it just barely touches the sway bar, so there's kind of really no need for that. I tried pushing caster all the way back. This looks nice, but I actually like hammered it quite a bit. I just didn't go like crazy. I wanted to actually like make it look nice. Technically notched the edge of the frame rail right there too. The problem is you end up getting pretty close to this and the wheel rubs, even though I have the harness tuck. So depending on your ride height, I think right now I'm at like 7 degrees of caster, but the higher you go, it's kind of easier to get lower caster. I have ran as low as 6 degrees somehow, even though it wasn't hitting. And honestly, I didn't notice a huge difference, but it's probably because of these shit tires. Don't believe Accelera 651s. Granted, they are lasting a long time. I hate them. I absolutely hate them. Every time I bought a set, I'm like, why the hell did I buy these things? They're fine at first, and then they just fall off horribly. And these have probably been heat cycled so many times that they're probably like 500 tread wear. These things suck. I want to blame what's going on with my steering, where it literally feels like I have zero feel, and there's like basically I can turn my steering wheel with my pinky. It doesn't react at sometimes, and it's like these have been in my car for quite some time. They still look new, and it kind of goes with the times that I ran like the 100 tread wears in the rear, 265s, and they had good decent forward bite, but zero. Like even on S chassis, don't have the, especially S13 don't have the greatest side bite. It was just the side bite was non-existent. Like especially you watch like recently at the LZ World Tour thing, whatever they did, and Jimmy crashed that Supra. Supras don't have a lot of mechanical side bite. Add Accelera 651s on the rear of the things. I don't blame Jimmy. This shit's awful. But yeah, I've been running the 300 treadwear Kendas. Yeah, I kind of, well, honestly, I thought I wasn't not making that much power. I thought I was making like 300, but maybe I'm making like 340. A lot of the times I end up running these things at like 10 psi, so I kind of need to grip it up, which I have some 08C to try running. It's kind of weirdly hard to find 265 08R. So, well, at least in the States, it does exist. But my local supplier says that it won't even be here until next year. So I'm kind of hoping the running 08Cs all around is going to solve a lot of my issues. Although I am worried I'm going to have to run the 08Cs probably at 10 psi cold. Even with 340 horsepower probably. Can't wait to run a 08R if I can, but gonna have to wait that one out. But yeah, for the rear, I don't really feel like jacking up my car for that because it's all just adjustable arms, stock S13 subframe. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to see shit, but what I did with this is my traction arms, I think they're close to 9 inches long, and I think standard length is 8.25 inches. Basically what that does is it takes a lot of the toe gain under squat. It removes it. So basically I don't, like it depends on each car, but that's pretty much close to where you kind of need to be. So basically the tire, because that traction arm is set correctly, it kind of just like goes like this. If you don't, then it like does like a weird, right, technically it like toes out really bad under squat. So if you don't have that adjustable arm, that's what happens. That was by design by Nissan. It's technically rear steer. You don't really want that in drifting. You want it to be pretty consistent. But yeah, even with these tires, I think I'm currently at 0.6 degrees of negative camber for some side bite, and then 3/4 of an inch total toe in. So quite a bit of toe in. Again, it's chasing grip. I feel like my car's not slow, but it's just, to me, it feels slow. It's weird. Like I kind of want to be like driving with the clutch pedal, if that makes sense. Like I want to be like basically fighting the car, even though that's probably stupid. Which I have learned my lessons. I do technically have the Mazworks Z32 adapter kit. As you can see, that's where my shifter sits. Although that is with the Z1 short short throw shifter, the Mazurk one apparently sucks and rattles. Z1 is much better. And you can just ask Mazurk to take that out of the kit, and they just use that money to buy the Z1 one. That makes it much better. And then also I have 350Z axles and a two-way. The Tomei two-way, which you can buy for, I think off 240SX motoring for $875 shipped. Technically, you can just throw it in there without checking anything. I checked my backlash, and it just put it like right at spec. Like, you can kind of just throw shit in there, and it should be good if you're worried about that. I should probably talk about my front alignment specs. I run about 7 degrees camber. And honestly, how I did that is when you go to weld in the washer, you set the center. I just use my phone to take the level, but then I double check the measurement. So I'm gonna put it up here. That's shit light. Anyways, I also double checked kind of like the center point, the center line of that bolt to the shock to verify it's the same left to right. And you just do that until you're at 7 degrees, and then you weld it up. Surprisingly, like as ghetto as that seems, it was when I put it on the alignment machine, it was spot on. So that's a good thing to do. But yeah, for front alignment, I have it at 7 degrees negative camber, and then I vary between like maybe like 3 to 8 mil toe out. Honestly, don't know a huge difference, but I think it's because of these shitty tires. So kind of like the more toe out you give, obviously it's a little snappier. It kind of drives in a little bit more because you have more Ackerman. But then at like high lock, big entry, it sucks because then you have less parallel steer. So I think the typical amount is like 5 mil, or technically I think 1/4 inch, but I think it's like 6.125 millimeters. I think everyone here kind of runs with B-Knuckle V1, the original. It's 1/4 out total. But yeah, I've been kind of playing with that, and I haven't noticed a huge difference. So honestly, like probably 2 or 3 mil toe out is probably perfect for kind of every scenario. Depends on what you're trying to do. But yeah, other than that, I don't think there's anything more special about my S13 than a lot of other ones. Yeah, it took a lot of money. I will say that's for sure. It does technically also have, which is completely unnecessary, I bought it with it, is 6-spot front brakes and then Z32 rear brakes. Z32 rear handbrake shoes are not bad, besides when they decide to explode at you, explode on the track. That has happened once, and I just carry a spare set of hardware and pads with me into the track, and that avoids that scenario, which does suck, because once your handbrake breaks, it makes you kind of not want to drive. But yeah, there's really nothing that special to this stuff. I think I bought the car for 11 grand, which does seem expensive, comparing, well, it is what it is nowadays, you know what I mean? But that was back in 2021, 11 grand, came with the SR swap, came with full suspension, all the arms, the big brake kit, the full interior coupe. The deals out there, they exist. I don't regret spending that 11 grand. Obviously, probably over the years, I've probably spent, wouldn't surprise me, over 30 grand. That's just the way it goes, but over multiple years, it's fine. It's what you got to do sometimes, you know, if you especially want to really drive, even though I've only done like 8 events. A lot of shit is unnecessary that I've done, but I don't know, drifting is sick. It's worth it entirely in the end, especially when things start to kind of click off the simulator, which I will say Assetto does not help as much as you think. Live for Speed is the way. It trains you more on the different aspects, because in real life, track grip is not consistent everywhere. The weather changes stuff. Whether or not your tires have been heat cycled, you know, like times where all of a sudden you lose a bunch of grip, times you have a bunch of grip. Like, also, because I'm dumb, I have zero mechanical sympathy. I was blowing up transmissions like every other month. That's because I would just beat the hell out of my clutch. Now with a better Nismo copper mix clutch and being a little bit nicer, I've had zero issues. Obviously, I upgraded all my drivetrain, so that's part of it. That was a big learning curve. I was realizing you can't just absolutely beat the shit out of your car and not expect something to break. But yeah, overall, if you have any questions, leave it down in the comments. Maybe it's gives you guys some sort of inspiration to get out there and drive. If you are still in the sim, you honestly don't need much nowadays. Just buy like an E36 or some shit like that. This is a little bit hype beast, I will say that. But yeah, getting out of the track, it's much better than a sim.